I was born in poverty. I was raised by junkies and boys home all my life. So I just thought maybe I'm just a chosen. Can't no nigga hurt me worse than I already been hurt. I lost my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmothers on both sides, my partners. I'm already dead, nigga, inside. So this little funny shit that I chose music, I'm not tripping. When I come out the boys' home, I went straight to the streets. Cause my pa, he got shot up and he went to jail for a murder. So right after that, the streets became my life. I chose that.
Birdman looks like he's losing control right in front of the world, falling asleep mid-performance, eyes heavy while the crowd stares in disbelief. This is the same man who rose from the trenches to build one of hip-hop's biggest empires, Cash Money. But now, that empire seems to be cracking apart piece by piece with lawsuits, shady business moves, and personal losses stacking up fast. His downfall isn't about death, it's about watching his legacy fade away in real time, and it's hard to look away. Now let's get into the decline.
My brother, Ronald Williams, my everything. My brother dropped out of school in the 7th grade. Super intelligent. Know how to make money, get money, and
by 2025, a new wave of worry hit the game, this time about Birdman's health, both physical and mental. The OG wasn't looking like himself, and the streets noticed quick. The Hot Boys reunion tour had just kicked off. Birdman, Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG all back together for the first time since 2000. It should have been a legendary celebration for the culture, but instead, one viral clip flipped the whole vibe upside down. In the footage, Birdman looks like he's nodding off on stage. Out of nowhere, his head just drops, and for about 15 seconds, he stands completely still behind Turk, not moving an inch. The crowd didn't know what to think. BG had to nudge him awake during the set, and the moment instantly blew up online. Fans were shocked, some saying, "Birdman, put the cup down." They were talking about that lean, codeine mixed with promethazine, the infamous syrup that's been a part of Southern hip-hop culture for decades. Others claimed it wasn't the syrup, it was just age catching up to him. They pointed out how other industry vets like Irv Gotti and Fat Man Scoop had started showing the same signs around that age. The crew tried to downplay it though. Turk brushed it off saying, "I don't know what be going on, man." But the internet wasn't buying it. Turk brushed it off saying, "I be in Turk's world doing what I'm doing. They gonna always turn something into something that ain't."
Ain't no nigga hurt me worse than I already been hurt. I lost my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmothers on both sides, my partners. I'm already dead, nigga, inside. So this little funny shit that I chose music, I'm not.
BG laughed it off too during Drink Champs, saying the crew thought it was all just jokes. But things took a dark turn when another clip dropped later that year. In October 2025, during an event in Harlem, Birdman was caught again nodding off mid-show. The internet exploded. Fans couldn't believe it. His team quickly tried to calm the storm, blaming everything on exhaustion from the non-stop tour schedule. They said he was just tired, nothing more. But nobody was buying that. The rumors got louder. People were whispering about lean relapses, seizures, and hidden health struggles. The worry for the big homie was real this time. All this chaos was happening right when a whole new drama popped off, this time involving Toni Braxton. Reports revealed that Toni and Birdman had secretly tied the knot back in August 2024, but only 2 weeks later, she filed for divorce. The split was wild, but in January 2025, the filing got dismissed, so technically they were still married. Still, the vibe was over. Both of them wiped each other off their socials, and Toni stopped wearing her wedding ring. It was messy, like real messy. Then came the real bombshell.
Made $2.5 billion with Universal, and they made $800 million off of me. Ain't none of these ever saw a B.
You kept the lights on over there pretty much.
Ain't no seen no B in this shit like I.
In October 2025, Toni finally opened up, calling out the dark side of the Cash Money empire. She spoke about what she called death rituals, but clarified she didn't mean literal voodoo or anything supernatural. She said these were symbolic, a reflection of the toxic control that ran deep inside the label. Tony described this twisted loyalty system where you had to prove your devotion through wild acts, matching tattoos, public kisses, everyone calling Birdman daddy, flexing luxury rides, and counting stacks for the cameras. It was all about power and image, not love. She said if anyone refused to play along, they'd get pushed out or straight up erased. Tony called it a secret society built on control, where gifts weren't tokens of affection, they were tools of manipulation. That's straight-up cope behavior. According to her, this same toxic energy was eating away at Birdman himself. Those moments on stage, his blank stares, his slumps, Tony and insiders believed they were signs of relapse or the curse of his own empire turning against him. She even said being tied to that world made her own lupus and heart issues worse, so she had to escape for her health, her peace, and her survival. But Birdman wasn't staying quiet. Reports say he clapped back hard, calling Tony a gold digger who wanted half of his $160 million. He even accused her of pawning her $5 million engagement ring. The drama between them was far from over, and fans couldn't look away.
If you could take one thing back in your career that you did, you could just take it back, what would it be?
My situation with Wayne. That hurt me more than anything, because I love that, and I meant nothing but right. I thought I did right. I changed his life. I changed his mama's life. I changed everything about him.
The internet went up in flames over the accusations. Some people rolled for Birdman, saying he was just moving like a boss, handling his empire how he wanted. But others were fully behind Toni Braxton, saying she was just trying to break free from what she called a toxic, destructive lifestyle. The drama only got louder when, in December 2025, wild rumors started flying. Claims that Birdman was creeping around with Tony's sister, Tamar Braxton. But both Birdman and Tamar shut that talk down fast. Tamar even said she was the one who introduced Birdman to Tony in the first place. She said she sees him as family, hinting that maybe the marriage wasn't completely over after all. Fans didn't know what to believe, but one thing was clear. Something deep was unraveling behind the scenes. Between the so-called death rituals, Birdman's health scares, and that crashed marriage, everything was pointing to a man being eaten alive by his own empire. It's like the energy he built his success on was coming back to haunt him. No mercy, no warning.
I said, let's put this shit behind us. How much you want? That can say 50, all right? You had that shit in the morning. And we did that, and that was over with. But
That's what's up.
he didn't even ask for 50. I gave him 50. On God, he ain't.
But to really understand how Birdman ended up in this storm, you gotta rewind to where it all began, in the dirt, before the fame, before the money. Brian Christopher Brooks, better known as Birdman, was born on February 15th, 1969 in New Orleans, Louisiana. He came up in the Magnolia Projects, one of the city's toughest neighborhoods, a place where poverty and survival ran the streets. He grew up surrounded by 10 brothers and 12 sisters. It was chaos, but it was home. His mother, Gladys Brooks, was his foundation. Birdman would later call her Miss Gladys, giving her credit for the little peace and order he had in his early life. But even that stability didn't last long. In interviews, Birdman has kept it real about how dark and dangerous his childhood really was. By the age of 14, he was already out there getting money in the streets. He even said he saw his first million before turning 15, not from music, but from the hustle. At just 16, he and his stepbrother got caught up in a heroin possession and distribution case. That move landed him behind bars for 18 months.
Fresh. I just wanted to have a clearing relationship with people that I started the business with.
Facts.
Everybody that I started with, I'm in good space with them. Fresh know what I did. Now know what I did. Wayne know what I did.
A hard lesson at a young age. But the story didn't stop there. By 1991, at only 22 years old, Birdman and his brother Ronald Slim Williams decided to flip the game entirely. They built Cash Money Records from the ground up, starting as an independent label pushing that raw New Orleans bounce sound. Slim had dropped out in 7th grade, but Birdman always hyped him up for being the brains behind the business moves. From the mud to the millions, it looked like Birdman had rewritten his destiny, but nobody knew how heavy that crown would get. The Williams brothers were on a mission, and they didn't miss. They pulled together a powerhouse crew, the Hot Boys. The lineup was legendary: Juvenile, BG, Turk, and a young Lil Wayne, who Birdman discovered when Wayne was just 9 years old, a real prodigy with crazy bars even as a kid. Birdman saw something in him early, and that move would change hip-hop forever. By 1998, all that street grinding finally paid off. Cash Money locked in a massive $30 million deal with Universal Records. The label dropped classics like Guerrilla Warfare and anthems like Bling Bling, taking over the game completely. Everywhere you turned, somebody was bumping Cash Money. But while the label was soaring, tragedy hit home hard. Back in 1996, Birdman's pops, Johnny Williams, died in a car accident, a painful loss that added another scar to a life already marked with struggle.
Talking to Fresh today, me and Fresh was on the phone, right? And I was telling Fresh, bruh, I swear to God, I ain't know nothing about this publishing shit. I didn't know. And Fresh used to be like, cause Fresh was...
Birdman later opened up about how all that pain molded him, made him colder, sharper, and more focused. By his early 20s, he had gone from the bricks of Magnolia to sitting on a $30 million check from Universal. He said he couldn't even believe it was real. It felt like he had beat the system. Through the 2000s, Cash Money only grew bigger. Lil Wayne turned into a global superstar with his Carter series, while new signings like Drake and Nicki Minaj took the label to another level. Money was flowing non-stop, racks on racks on racks. Birdman's net worth hit around $160 million, and he claimed he brought in over $2.5 billion with Universal throughout his whole career. Insane numbers, but getting to that level came with a price. See, Birdman later admitted that early in the game, he didn't fully understand the business side. He was hustling off instinct, not contracts, and that lack of knowledge would come back to bite him bad. What started as small money disputes turned into full-blown beefs, lawsuits, and messy public feuds that defined the next chapter of his career.
Get my feelings in it, but I ain't never took from them. I always blessed niggas.
But why niggas keep saying that?
You know,
Stone don't say why.
Cash Money became known for more than just hit records. It earned a reputation as a finesse machine. The label was legendary for producing stars, but also infamous for allegedly playing artists out of their money, delaying albums, and using heavy pressure to keep people in check. The pattern was always the same. Artists would sign, blow up, then eventually call out Birdman and Slim for holding their bread hostage. The rise was real, but the storm brewing behind the empire was even more real. Out of all the drama that ever hit Cash Money, the one that cut the deepest was the fallout between Birdman and Lil Wayne. This wasn't just any artist beef. This was between a man and the kid he raised like his own son. Birdman had discovered Wayne when he was just a youngin', molded him, fed him game, and turned him into a superstar. But by 2015, everything fell apart in the ugliest way possible. That year, Wayne hit Birdman with a $51 million lawsuit. He claimed he never got his rightful advances or royalties and said Birdman pocketed over half of a $100 million deal with Universal. Fans were stunned. It was like watching a family war go public. The lawsuit cracked open the truth behind the Cash Money family image, revealing serious tension and mistrust. Wayne accused Birdman of working with Universal behind his back to keep profits from him, and the legal fight dragged on for years before they finally settled in 2018.
I always looked at Wayne as my son, and I always looked at it like, because I was in the streets, and I thought this might be the last time they ever see me.
When people later asked Birdman about it, he admitted that the whole situation was one of his biggest regrets. He said he eventually made things right by pulling up to Wayne's house himself, face to face, and blessing him with even more than he asked for. It was his way of showing love, but the scars from that split never fully healed. And Wayne wasn't the only one who felt betrayed. The same smoke came from Juvenile, BG, Manny Fresh, and a bunch of other artists who once called Cash Money home. They claimed Birdman had locked them into wild contracts, 80-20 splits, shady recoupment setups, and missing royalties that never showed up. Some even said if you stepped out of line, your album got shelved or your name got blackballed. It was ruthless. Birdman eventually owned up to making mistakes early on, saying he didn't fully understand publishing or how the money side really worked back then. But that didn't stop the internet from keeping his name in controversy. The comparisons started flying, people calling him the Southern Diddy or the new Suge Knight, pointing out the same patterns of control and artist fallouts. He's been called one of the coldest-hearted figures in the rap industry, but when the accusations hit hard, Birdman always clapped back strong, saying he never cheated nobody, just handled business his own way. But there's one situation that still makes people uncomfortable: the way Birdman moved around Lil Wayne back in the early 2000s. A viral photo from that era showed Birdman kissing Lil Wayne on the lips, and the internet went wild with questions. Birdman quickly shut it down, saying it wasn't anything strange. It was just some father-son type energy, showing love to the kid he raised from nothing. Still, that image stuck with people, and it became part of the never-ending conversation about who Birdman really is, a genius mogul or a man whose power blurred all the lines.
I'd rather die about that and kill about it too. I out-accomplished every nigga that ever did the music business.
Yeah.
No nigga out-accomplished me. Not one nigga on planet Earth. I gave my life to the game, and I'm prepared. And I'm still prepared to die about this. But more important,
Things got even more disturbing when old stories about Birdman and Lil Wayne resurfaced, and this time it wasn't about money or music. Wayne once claimed publicly that Birdman set him up to lose his virginity to a grown woman when he was just 11 years old. That's beyond shocking. People straight up called it grooming and exploitation. The revelation threw a dark shadow over their entire father-son image and made fans see their bond in a completely different light. But Birdman kept pushing forward, acting like none of it could shake his empire. His finesse moves didn't stop with music either. He tried to expand into new territory. In 2010, Birdman and Slim launched Bronald Oil and Gas LLC, claiming they were stepping into the energy business. Birdman even went as far as tattooing an oil pump jack on his head for the flex. But when folks started digging into the company, things got sketchy. No evidence of real operations, no oil fields, no employees, nothing. It looked more like a front for status than a real hustle. Still, Birdman stood tall through the criticism. He kept saying his wins outweighed any drama, that no one in the game had put on more artists, built more stars, or spread more money around. In his mind, he was the GOAT of generosity, a boss who changed lives while everyone else just talked. But behind that confidence, darker rumors kept swirling, stories about betrayal, violence, and payback that made the money issues look small in comparison. When you move like a street boss, that energy sometimes follows you all the way into the boardroom. And for Birdman, the line between business and the streets always seemed to blur.
just was like, my daughter was kept like, Daddy, why he keep with you like that? She don't say fucking, but why he keep? I had no idea because I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to the radio.
Back in the late 90s, as Cash Money was rising, chaos surrounded the label. Artist Yellow Boy was killed in 1997 after a heated dispute, and another artist, Kilo G, was found dead in 1998. The streets started whispering, saying these weren't random acts, that these might have been get-back moves tied to Birdman's circle. Nothing was ever proven, no charges ever stuck, but the whispers never went away. Then came the wildest accusation of them all. In April 2015, Lil Wayne's tour bus got shot up in Atlanta after a show. Bullets flying, glass shattered, but thankfully no one was hit. The story went from rumor to courtroom headlines when Georgia prosecutors indicted Pee Wee Roscoe, one of Young Thug's associates, on 30 counts, including aggravated assault. Investigators said phone records linked Birdman, Thug, and the shooter in the hours surrounding the hit. It was one of the biggest scandals in modern rap history. Birdman's name right in the middle of a shooting involving the artist he once called his son. Whether he was really involved or not, that moment locked in his reputation as one of the most controversial figures hip-hop has ever seen. When the smoke cleared after the Wayne tour bus shooting, things got even messier. The official indictment hinted that the entire hit was revenge for Wayne's $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money. Prosecutors claimed that Birdman and Young Thug had allegedly plotted to take Wayne out, an accusation that shook the industry to its core. Birdman's name was listed in the paperwork, but he was never charged. He shut it all down, calling the whole thing cap.
I just went there with one intention, just to say, brother, stop playing with me.
Meanwhile, the shooter, Jimmy Pee Wee Roscoe, ended up catching a 10-year sentence for his role in the attack. But that wasn't the end of the chaos. The streets said Birdman's connection to Young Thug through their rich gang partnership sparked major tension with rich homie Quan, turning into what some people called a full-blown Atlanta war. That beef reportedly set off a series of violent events, Quan's father getting shot, rival label boss Big Nut murdered, and whispers of more than 50 bodies dropping in the city between 2014 and 2016. Cash Money's name kept popping up in the rumors, even when no evidence ever tied Birdman directly to any of it. The streets were on fire, and Birdman's empire stayed surrounded by controversy. Then tragedy hit close to home again. In 2017, one of Birdman's rising artists, BTY Young N, was killed in what many called a suspicious setup. Just hours after the news broke, Birdman wiped his entire Instagram clean, leaving only one tribute post saying "RIP BTY Young N." That move had fans and media talking non-stop. Why erase everything else right after your artist gets killed? People started questioning what Birdman might have been trying to hide, or whether it was his way of making a silent statement. But the most painful betrayal of all didn't come from an artist, it came from family. Not Slim, but Birdman's other brother, Terrence "Gangsta" Williams. Back in the day, Terrence was allegedly one of Birdman's main enforcers, handling street business when Cash Money was first rising up. Word on the block was that Birdman put Terrence on to handle dirty work when Cash Money was still young, and that path led to over 20 bodies and a life sentence. By 2001, Terrence was deep in the game, reportedly still moving under Birdman's direction.
I think NBA Youngboy might be the biggest rapper. I said that 5 years ago.
What you mean big when you say big?
Ain't no gonna be bigger than NBA Youngboy. Numbers.
But everything changed when Terrence got out of prison in 2024 after cooperating with the feds to secure his release. The minute that news hit, Birdman publicly cut him off, saying his brother had violated the street code. No love, no contact, just silence. Critics called it heartless, saying Birdman left his own blood behind after more than 20 years locked up, especially when those years were tied to Cash Money's early street roots. The streets had a lot to say. Half respected Birdman for staying loyal to the code, but others thought it was cold-blooded to abandon his brother after everything. But one thing about Birdman, he never hides where he stands. He's always made it clear he'll protect what he built at any cost. That same fearless energy went viral in 2016 when Birdman stormed into the Breakfast Club studio, ready to check Charlamagne the God and the crew for all their slick talk. He stood there face to face, demanding respect, and dropped a line that became hip-hop history. "Put some respect on my name." That clip went nuclear online and reminded everyone that no matter how wild the rumors get, Birdman will always defend his name like a boss. Birdman was never the type to just let things slide, ever. He later reflected on that infamous Breakfast Club moment, saying it was more than just ego. It was about demanding respect after decades of putting in work. But when you look at everything, the bodies, the street whispers, the family betrayals, the shady plots, it paints a picture of a man who didn't just build his empire off business skills, but off survival instincts and pure dominance. The streets been talking about Birdman for years, and the stories only keep growing louder. But here's the wild part. Through all the chaos, Birdman still hasn't folded. He's still out here stacking bread and mentoring the next generation. The bag never stopped. Right now, he's laser-focused on guiding NBA Youngboy, traveling with him, making sure the youngin' stays focused, out of trouble, and gets his money straight. Birdman swears Youngboy is destined for history, predicting a $300 million deal in his future and calling him the next global superstar.
Youngboy, bro, that shit ain't normal. Nah, he not normal. He's special. Big money right there, brother. I think he's $1 billion nigga. I tell him that.
He says he sees in Youngboy what he once saw in Lil Wayne and Young Thug, that rare one-in-a-million talent that can flip the game upside down. And maybe, deep down, Birdman sees himself in the kid too, a raw, misunderstood force fighting his way through chaos to greatness. Still, even a boss gets tired. Birdman's been hinting at stepping back from the spotlight, saying he's ready to chill after a few more moves, especially the long-rumored Like Father, Like Son 2 album with Wayne. He's officially done rapping, but don't get it twisted. He stays reminding everyone he still eats better than most of the new generation rappers out here. In rare moments of reflection, Birdman's admitted a few regrets, like wishing he had gone to college or gotten more education instead of jumping straight into the streets. He's talked about how draining the Wayne beef was, how it tested him emotionally, and how he lost out on chances to grow as a person because of pride and pressure. As for his money, people stay debating it. Some say his net worth sits between $100 and $200 million, down from his peak of around $150 to $200 million, thanks to lawsuits, foreclosures, and a few bad investment losses. Back in 2017, he even got hit with a $12 million foreclosure case on his Miami Beach mansion and lost it. The internet had a field day calling it the Birdman decline. But then in 2025, he came swinging back hard.
I'm done with it. I still get more money than rap.
Reports dropped that Birdman had just purchased a $42 million Miami mega mansion on a private peninsula, complete with luxury docks, marble floors, and an ocean view made for a king. He was flexing proof that the fall-off narrative was pure cap. And that wasn't the only win. His legendary Cash Money catalog still generates between $20 to $40 million a year in passive income, money still printing non-stop. While critics talk, Birdman stays collecting checks, staying relevant, and staying unbothered. Through it all, he's never stopped feeling like the industry hasn't given him the flowers he deserves. Birdman believes the lack of respect comes from where he came from, the trenches, the streets, the hustle. He's convinced that no one, not Diddy, not Jay-Z, not anybody, has put on more artists or created more millionaires than him. And that's the thing about Birdman. His downfall isn't one big crash, one huge scandal, or a single catastrophic moment. It's the slow unraveling of a man who built an empire with his bare hands and watched it start to eat him alive, all while still refusing to bow to anyone. His tragic fate isn't losing everything. It's watching the world question the legacy he fought so hard to build. It's not one single downfall. It's decades of weight crashing down at once. The lawsuits, the betrayals, the whispers of violence, the family betrayals, the health scares, the public shame, all of it stacked up into a storm that never stopped.
Ain't about to stop. All right, y'all capping, y'all playing, y'all don't get it, y'all won't play. You can't, I don't think none of these can out-hustle me. Not a on planet Earth.
Birdman built one of the biggest dynasties hip-hop has ever seen, putting on legends like Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Young Thug. But behind all that success was a trail of broken trust, courtroom fights, and bridges burned beyond repair. From the mud to the millions, he did what most could only dream of. He made billions, rewrote the rules of the game, and turned the streets into a business empire. But now, at the tail end of his run, he's surrounded by chaos. His health looks shaky. His marriage with Toni Braxton crashed and burned in weeks. His old brother remains cut off forever, and his old artists still call him out for doing him dirty. Yet somehow, Birdman keeps it moving. Every morning, he wakes up chasing the bag like it's day one. He's mentoring the next generation, guiding stars like NBA YoungBoy, and still swearing he's blessed more lives than anyone else in the industry. He truly believes he's the greatest to ever do it, and maybe, in some ways, he is.
No hurt me worse than I already been hurt. I lost my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmothers on both sides, my partners. I'm already dead inside. So this little funny shit that I chose music, I'm not tripping. No, nobody won't see nobody die anyway. So I ain't tripping, brother. But besides that.
But maybe that's also the saddest part of all. A man who has everything, money, a legendary catalog, respect from the ones that matter, yet still admits he feels empty inside. Birdman once said he feels already dead inside, like all the fame, the power, and the riches can't fill the hole he's been carrying since the streets first took his peace. The tragic fate of Birdman isn't death, it's living with everything he built, surrounded by the wreckage of how he built it. That's the real loss, the kind you can't fix with fame or money. So what do you think? Is Birdman the ultimate hustler who paid the price of greatness, or a man haunted by his own empire? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk about it. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment if you want more deep dives into the untold stories of hip-hop's biggest legends. Stay tuned, because this saga is far from over.